Now, I did my own research because well, the orthodontists were telling me that malocclusion is environmental. Sorry, the other way around. They were telling me malocclusion is genetic. Now, that seemed surprising to me. So this is a very, very simple test. I took 3 bean seeds. I planted one the right way up, one the wrong way up, and one on its side. As you can see, each of the shoots grew in an entirely different way, despite the fact that they were all genetically the same. So I think it's an excellent illustration. I'm showing that the environment will guide the direction of growth, although the genetics will drive the growth itself. So remember that the majority of difference in people growing different shapes is environmental, not genetic. Now, I was very influenced by John Gurdon. He was the scientist who found out about cloning. I'm sure all of you know what cloning is. It's basically he took a cell from the intestine of a male frog and planted it in an egg. It grew into a tadpole and then into a frog. But what was really interesting was that the frog was a twin of the male donor. That tells us a huge amount about growth. Essentially, it tells us that every single cell in the body is able to control the growth of the whole body. Think about that. It's very significant. It also means that during growth, all the cells know exactly what's happening and what they should do themselves. And that is a crucial feature within growth. And this was Dolly the sheep, that showed that this will also happen in mammals. She was cloned in just the same way, and yet grew into a normal sheep. As again, as I say, showing that every cell in the body can form the complete body. All right, each cell does a different thing, but it knows what all the other cells are doing, and it must carry a map of the whole body. Now, this is the very small organism, only about 2 or 3 millimeters long, called a hydra. It has these long tentacles that grow out. If you cut off one of the tentacles, say halfway down, it will grow that half. If you cut it at the bottom, it will grow the full tentacle. But you should ask, how does it know when to go a half tentacle or a full tentacle, or when to stop growing? It must know where all the other cells are in that particular tentacle, and they must all be able to understand the particular job they have to do. It's a fascinating subject. This is a picture of the British tortoiseshell. Excuse me just a sec. Now, you can see that lovely pattern on the back of the wing. Obviously, that is a very precise pattern, but if you look closely, it's not perfect. The two sides are not exactly the same, showing that genes do control, but they are not very, very precise. Each one of the color cells comes from the neural spine on the butterfly's back. and each color cell migrates across the wing. It's non-motile, but somehow or other it is able to move between all the other cells to the exact spot that it has to display its color. Now that is a fantastic process. And as you can see, all the color cells arrive in the right place. So each one must have a map of the whole body. That's the only reason you can account for this. Therefore, every cell in the butterfly's body has a knowledge of exactly where it needs to be. And it just does that. This alone, I think, is fascinating. But when you apply to other features, it means that at conception, the shape of your face is determined very precisely, I think within 1 or 2 millimeters. All right, we know that everybody grows up with a different face, but we all start at conception with an exact description of what our face will look like. Obviously, there are many factors that can interfere with this, and that's basically what I want to talk about today. Why do faces grow differently? And what indeed can you do to change that and hopefully make them grow ideally? Now, I show you here the picture of a pig. Now, you may not find that face very attractive, but obviously to other pigs, that would look perhaps a very attractive pig, someone they would want to spend the rest of their life with. Pigs, no doubt, fall in love with other pigs, but it's just to make you realize that our idea of facial beauty is entirely genetic. Faces are not naturally beautiful or ugly. It is we who think they are either beautiful or ugly. And that is due to our map, which is planted in our mind and tells us that some people are very beautiful, like Grace Kelly, and maybe others aren't quite as beautiful. But there is a precise way that every face should grow, and at conception, I won't say at birth, but at conception, that face is very precisely defined within, as I say, a few millimeters, certainly no more than that. Now, the growth of the face is basically guided by oral posture. That is really the only variable that is left. The body, all the cells in the body know where they should be, but if the posture is different, then they get muddled up. If you hang your jaw down, the position of the cells is quite different, and therefore they are unable to move to the precise position they want to. I discovered this from research done years ago. Can't remember the name of the chap. Horowitz, that was it. He was researching twins, and he found that identical twins are very nearly the same, but one area of the body differs a lot, in fact, 10 times as much as any other area in the body. I don't think you'll find it hard to guess what that area is. It's the face. The human face varies far more than any other aspect of the human body. I'm sure that this is due to the fact that the jaws are under less strict genetic control. They are quite loosely controlled. This is important because the teeth all have to meet. And the way they meet is by the posture. You may know, for instance, a crocodile has to be able to have its incisors meet precisely. If they don't meet very precisely, the crocodile will not be able to live. And yet, when you think about it, the upper and lower incisors of a crocodile are separated by about a meter of tissue. That is, if you go all the way around the jaw and back to the lower incisor. And now that is too precise for the genes to control. So there is another mechanism that controls why all the teeth of a crocodile, or you or me, meet in the right position. And that is because the growth follows the posture. If a crocodile postures its teeth together, they will grow to that position. If we posture our teeth together, the jaws grow to that position. That is essentially the tropic premise at work. Now, as I said, the tissues of the face in particular are guided primarily by posture. The environment puts them in the right general position, and each gene knows where it should be. But if the tongue and the lips and the jaw are in the wrong position, then growth goes wrong. And malocclusion is simply that. This little boy, as you can see, sucked when he swallowed, which is very common. And you can see what it did to his teeth, deep overbite collapsed arches, and quite a difficult case to treat. But that is the routine cause of all malocclusion. I have absolutely no doubt about that. And it is basically a breach of the tropic premise.